Hello interwebs, Sir Talen here, and I'm here today to talk to you about webcomics. Specifically, a webcomic you've probably never heard of, which is the best science fiction comic I think's out there. It is called Terinu, and it's by a woman named Peta Hewitt who lives down in Geelong, Australia. And it is a black and white, full-page comic done in a traditional comic book style because it was basically started as a Dead Tree edition that she distributed to comic shops around Melbourne by herself, until she discovered the internet and decided, yeah, it's easier to just scan them and put it online than it is to print it up myself, which is expensive. So, what it's about is the title character is Terinu. He's a short, gray boy with a long tail and the ability to project what's called bion, which is basically a life energy, and he uses it to blast the crap out of people who are bothering him when he gets the chance, which is rarely. Otherwise, his whole race was genetically engineered to be a power source by a gentleman named the Gene Mage. And the background of this series is that the Gene Mage was part of a race called the Varn Dominion. And basically they had gone around conquering the universe until they came along to the Earth on the late 21st century and said, "Hi, we're conquering you." And the human race said, "No." So the human race got basically scattered to the stars, started a resistance movement, and overthrew a 5,000-year-old government in about 20 years. Because, we do that in these sort of series. Unfortunately, about 500 years down the road, things aren't looking so good. Because the Varn are making a comeback. The human race is basically at odds with a lot of the other races because basically we don't get along with anybody, and they're all going, "Hey, you overthrew the Varn. You're scary." And so the Varn are on the way back. There are pirates everywhere. The human race is basically rather unpleasant in this universe because they do things like indentured servitude of criminals, selling people like Terinu to biological research companies just because, hey, there's some bucks to be made there, and other fun things. But other than that, it's a fun universe to be in because basically Terry's life sucks because he's got the human race after him to complete a little bit of spoiler information that I'm not going to give out right now. He's got the Gene Mage after him, who wants him to basically grab Terry and to restart his entire race, because Terry is this typical last of his kind available, and the Gene Mage really loves the guys because he created them. Kind of loves them in a scary sort of way, but we're not going to get into that right now. Let's see. And oh yeah, about Terry. One thing about Terry is one of the reasons his life sucks is he was discovered floating alone in a destroyed spaceship. And he was raised by a space pirate by the name of Maverick-chan to be her trained pet assassin. This is lousy for him, because basically he's 15 years old, he'd spent the last 7 years being trained as an assassin, which means he's really, really screwed up in the head. He doesn't trust anybody, and the people he do trust have a tendency to unfortunately betray him either accidentally or very deliberately, depending on who they are. So anyway, about the other characters. Going through the main characters aside from Terry is Lisa Blake, who's the ship's engineer who basically finds him at the beginning of the series and is sort of sheltering him. And she's about 25 years old or so, and she's a very competent engineer, and she's trying very hard to do well by Terry, but she's got a couple of things working for her against her. One of the major things is her dad, Admiral Blake, is a bigwig, and he basically knows the secret of Terry's race, which is one of the reasons why he's trying very hard to either capture or kill Terry, which makes for a little bit of bad father-daughter relationships there. Okay, aside from that, we've got her cousin Lance, who's a bit of a tall, arrogant jerk, but he's good at heart. He just does not get along with Terry at all for various reasons. On the other hand, he doesn't want Terry dead, which is rather nice. And then we come to one of the cooler characters of the series, Rufus Brushtail, who's a Vulpine, and he basically is your stereotypical hot jock, fighter star pilot, hidden noble, rich guy. And that sounds like he's a Marty Sue, and honestly, he is about a Marty Sue, but that's okay, because he's fun. Marty Stew or Gary Stew? Oh, never mind. Anyway, Gary Stew, and he likes to fly around his fighter and help people out, and generally speaking, avoid responsibility. but from his family. And then going down the list, we also have Rufus's girlfriend, Malika, who is the person who raised Terry for most of the beginning of his life after he was found. And she really loves Terry, and Terry sort of loves her, but he's got a little bit of resentment there because she wasn't able to save him from being snatched back by Maverick Chan and trying to be turned into his assassin. And other than that, we've also got Terry's little love interest there, Gwen, who's another one of Lisa's cousins, and she's basically a hacker, because she's one of those things you can do the stereotypical cyberpunk thing and plug her brain into a computer to manipulate it, and which is good under most circumstances. Unfortunately, she's new at it. 2, she's basically an upper middle class ditz. She's smart in some areas, but she doesn't really empathize with Terry too much because he's from basically very lower class. He's never had any control over anything in his life, and she's basically privileged upper middle class, and she doesn't understand things like getting hungry means a bit more than just missing out on getting a burger in the afternoon. So, and on the antagonist side, we've got the Varn Gene Mage, who, as I mentioned earlier, wants to capture Terry to restart his race. And he's being helped by a guy named General Gisco, who's another genetically engineered race that he created from a Galapagos lava lizard, which is rather hilarious. So, and generally speaking, even though Gisco is working for the bad guys, he's one of the nicer characters in the series because, he's just there. He's working for God. He's doing God's will, trying to conquer the universe. And other than that, he's trying to get enough time off to be with his wife while she's pregnant, and they're going to have their first child. So, a little bit of a dichotomy there. And he's an honorable fellow. He's just like, trying to conquer the universe. Other than that, we've got the Ardactavians, which are these bug people who basically hate mammals, which is basically everyone else. And I've got their own little subplot there of causing trouble, and she's a really obnoxious character, because very, very noble, very, very haughty, very, very, you want to see her face smashed in. And let's see, we've also got, of course, Maverick Chan, the space pirate that found Terry originally, and her private name in the forums is called the Psycho Pirate Bitch, because that's basically what she is. She loves the smash and grab viewpoint of the universe. It's like, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. And if I can smash you over the head and grab yours, it's mine. And she's an incredibly nasty, evil piece of work, and she knows it, and she's loving it, which makes her a wonderful character. And other than that, it is a terrific series, and I highly recommend it to anyone who wants a good solid science fiction adventure character-based series. It does, I will admit, have a couple of things going for it. One of it is the extremely sporadic update schedule, because frankly, Peta is working full-time, and she's got a family with several children, and she's got a life. So that means we've got a good at least 22 30-page issues of story already drawn over the past few years, but she's had to restart the website several times, and it's updating rather slowly while she's working on chapter 24 finally. So that's a bit troubling. Other than that, the only other thing I can say about this is Peta is very, very bad at self-promotion, because, like I said, no one's ever heard of this series, and it's wonderful, and I wish people would read it more, but Peta doesn't have time to advertise. I don't have any money to advertise for her, even though I'm her biggest fanboy. Well, aside from that guy who made the music videos. But honestly, I wish people would read it more. You should go to her website, www.terinu.com. Read the comic. It's worth your time. I would like you to take a look at it, because this is a comic that honestly needs more love. Alright? And hopefully if I do this right, you're going to see a lot of images edited into this, so it's going to look cool instead of just me yakking at the camera for 10 minutes. Alright? Talk to you later.